2017. I'm joined once again by Spam, and this is going to be very interesting for us because I know a good amount about this franchise, and you know absolutely nothing.
I wouldn't say I know nothing. There's Zidane and Cloud and the wizard thing from Final Fantasy 9.
We'll see if you can point them out.
Yeah,
fantastic.
Sephiroth. There's a name.
That's not bad. There you go.
Expert.
Good job. Dan, hey guys, do you want to just quickly, briefly explain a little bit about yourselves and a little bit about the game you're showing today?
Yeah, sure. My name's Dan from Square Enix, and we are here, Melissa and I are here to show you Dissidia, Final Fantasy NT, which is a new 3v3 team-based brawler coming out on PS4 30th of January.
3v3 brawler. Okay, this sounds pretty interesting. All right, well, should we just jump straight in and have a look?
Yeah, why not?
Fantastic. Okay. So, can you name any of these characters, Spam?
Yeah, that's Terra Branford.
Okay, good job.
That's
nice.
Cloud.
There you
that's
go.
your shoulder.
You've
I can
got
read.
You've got it.
Are you impressed?
Good job. I am.
The
I'm
one
very
thing that's
impressed.
good. I am a bit of a Final Fantasy noob, but I'm aware of the series. You know, obviously, how can you not be? And the great thing about this is you already know which character the game is coming from. It gives you a little bit of an idea about it. And also, if you're someone like me who knows Cloud, who knows Sephiroth, but knows nothing about the series, this can be a good entry point into the beautiful world that's been created over 2-3 generations.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the thing with Dissidia is that, along with everything you said, if you are a fan of Final Fantasy, then there is so much in this game. There's so many references, so much fan service. There's so much to love. And each of the characters, because it's mentioned it's a brawler, it's a fighting game, each character, their playstyle reflects, their personalities, the games they're from. So if you know them, you'll see a lot more of them, the things you might remember. So like, for example, like Cloud, you'll recognize a lot of his attacks when you play the game. And like, if you're a complete noob, if you've never played Final Fantasy, it doesn't matter, because at its core, it's a brawler, it's a fighting game.
Yeah.
So the mechanics are so sound and it's so incredibly fun that you don't necessarily need to know. And with all the characters, the way they look and the design, there's going to be a bunch of characters you're just going to look at that, hey, that guy or girl looks really cool, I want to play as them. And then you get into them and hopefully learn more about them and maybe even go back and play the original games they're from.
Well, yeah, that's very true. So, I mean, in terms of like playstyle for the characters, do they reflect themselves in their franchises? Like, for example, I know like Zidane's quite a fast character. Are they quite fast in this game as well? So the speed and things come into play?
Yeah, definitely. So there are 4 classes or types of characters. 3 main ones. There's assassins, vanguards, and marksmen, and you've also got specialists, which, as the name suggests, they're a bit special. But the main 3 are your main archetypes of characters. So vanguards are like your dominating style characters. They, mid to close range, hit hard, good at closing the gap. Assassins are your rushdown kind of characters that really get up in your face, and marksmen are your long distance kind of zoning kind of characters. And so you mentioned Zidane.
Yeah.
Zidane, as we know from the game he's from, Final Fantasy 9, is a thief.
Yeah.
Right? He's a pickpocket. So each character also has special, unique abilities and mechanics that reflect from the original game. So Zidane has the ability to steal opponents' buffs or debuff them. And that's unique to him.
That's
only
pretty
he
cool.
can do it.
Okay.
And every character has something related to them that only they can do, which is reflective of their original game.
Right, okay. Well, that seems like it works quite well. So in terms of like you mentioned it's a 3v3 brawler, how does that mechanic work? Do we switch by just hitting a button, we switch characters, or do they have to die first, or?
No, you only play one character. It's team-based. It's multiplayer, so it's 6 players.
Right.
Wow. And it's the only, as far as I'm aware, I believe it's the only multiplayer fighting game like this. I mean, some fighting games you have, team modes, but in this, it's the team play is so core because you have to work with your team to face off against another team, and the mechanics all play into this teamwork kind of framework.
Okay.
So the core, I mean, if you look at the screen now, the core of the battle system, basically there's 2 types of attacks. There's bravery attacks and there's HP attacks. So your bravery attacks, if you saw on the screen, there's a big number at the bottom.
Yeah.
That builds up that number. And then your HP attacks uses that number basically to do damage. So risk reward, that you build up your bravery to do damage. And whenever you get hit, you lose bravery. And it's the risk reward.
I guess that's an important thing to have, because fighting games has seen a real renaissance.
There it is.
I'm good at pronouncing words. I've seen a real comeback recently. You've seen like this week. You've got the new Ultimate Marvel game. You've got Pokken coming out. I mean, obviously you can have a lot of Final Fantasy fans drawn to this product, but what is going to be attractive to fighting game fans when they've got so much choice at the moment, and fighting games are really seeing a comeback at the moment?
Yeah, it really comes down to the team play. The team mechanics are really what's called, because like you mentioned, like there is nothing like it. And the whole bravery system, the way you build up your bravery with certain attacks to build up your damage is completely unique to Dissidia Final Fantasy NT as well, because in a traditional fighting game, you have your health bars.
Yeah.
You do damage, the health bar goes down.
And that's it, yeah.
Whereas in Dissidia, you only do damage when you do the HP attack, and that it depends on how much bravery you have. So it's someone in the team kind of always refers it to the weakest link. It's like when you do really well, it's like, do you bank that cash and like save it later, or do you use it right away to do the damage? So it's the same thing in Dissidia. When you're in a fight, especially if you're against someone who's equally skilled or more skilled, like, do you wait until you can get enough bravery that you can just one-shot them, or do you chip away slowly using little bits of bravery? Because there's risk reward to doing that. Because if you lose your bravery, when you use your HP attack, you lose all that bravery you have to do the damage.
Okay.
And when you've got no bravery, you're incredibly vulnerable.
So you can't just do HP attacks then? That's an impossible strategy, right?
Not at all.
That's interesting. So is it a local co-op or online? How
online.
does that work? Okay, so it's online, so you get your full screen experience on the console that you're on. The other two characters are being played by two other people in like live at the same time, or do they have to switch in? Or
No, it's all going at the same time.
All at the same time, right? So you can go to help a friend out who's maybe struggling a bit, or come back or whatever. Okay.
Yep, exactly. So you can see Melissa is playing as Van, and she has on her team Yustola for Fantasy 11, and I believe, sorry, the screen's a little bit far from me. I can't quite see the third, but yeah, you've basically got your two teams with the three characters on either side.
Yep.
And then you can see where everyone is on the map, because there's a 3D battle arena as well. And you can see the map on the right, so you can see where everyone is. And that's the thing, like the team play is like you can, depending on your strategy, you might want to pair up with one of your teammates, be like, mate, let's go gank this guy.
Yeah.
And then completely dominate them, and then systematically move around.
Right,
like, or, you might want to be more defensive, or however you want to work with your team.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I suppose once one character has been killed, they are out, and it becomes like a sort of a ganging up situation.
Not quite. It's each team has 3 lives.
Okay.
And any one of those, if any one of your team gets incapacitated, gets knocked out, you lose a life, essentially.
Like a team life, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So ganking people is really important then.
Yeah, because you can win by knocking the same person out 3 times, or you can knock everyone out once, or one person twice, and one
same
person
outcome.
once. So it all depends on your strategy and how your movesets on in how you want to approach the battles, and if you want to just wipe an area and do massive damage and knock everyone out, or do really focused strikes.
No, that's really cool.
As someone that knows a very little bit about Final Fantasy the series, but quite a lot about fighting games, one thing you see in fighting games at the moment is tournaments and high-level gameplay, and what comes to that is character tiers. Is that something you're putting in? Is it as simple as Zidane and Cloud are going to be high tier? And there's a lot of people that have been fan of Final Fantasy for 10 years that want their characters to be high tier, and how do you find that balance?
Oh, that's a tough one. Basically, I mean, tier lists change all the time, right? Because some characters that you think might be low tier, if someone gets really good at them, then they suddenly jump a high tier. I think it was was it Yoshi in Super Smash Brothers Melee? I think after it was 5 years or something, and someone came along and suddenly gone from bottom tier, came up to low high tier. But what's interesting about Dissidia Final Fantasy NT is that it's actually based off an arcade game in Japan, which came out in 2015.
Okay. Right,
and
okay.
And that's still being updated, and that ever since it came out has been very high up in the rankings of Japanese competitive arcades.
Okay.
And there's been a couple of years now, and there's got to be good game balance for it to sustain that for that long. And the team themselves, the development team, are very aware of the importance of balance. So they're always constantly tweaking, buffing, nerfing, etc.
So you can basically draw from those years of experience with the arcade title and bring it to this.
Exactly. And the thing as well, when it comes to balance, is that because it's a team game, no matter how good you are, it is incredibly difficult to carry a team. You can be really good, but if you get 2 people on you, even if they're not as well skilled as you, it's very difficult to take them both on successfully. So it kind of also balances itself in that regard, because if someone just happens to be really good or playing a quote-unquote high-tier character and is really good with them, if you gang up on them, you can still take them out quite, not easily, but to a level where the playing field is a lot more level.
It's exciting to see that new, fresh idea come into fighting games, because, you know, as much as they've seen a comeback, a renaissance, they got it that time, you know, they're still kind of the same. But adding, you know, I haven't seen an arena shooter with this since, like, Power Stone 2 on the Dreamcast. Like, that's the last game I remember.
That's
this kind of stuff. That is old school Power Stone. So, you know, obviously that's going to bring its kind of problems with it, you know, bringing these new things. But I think it's also going to bring a lot of, you know, not just Final Fantasy game fans, but fighting game fans are going to be really interested in this title.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely.
One thing, again, sorry.
No, sorry, you carry on.
I've got another question.
Let's do it.
One.
Let's get
one thing the Final Fantasy series is it's famous for is the characters and their history and how much people love them. Obviously, you've had to leave out some characters. How did you decide who to bring in, who to leave out, who to bring in the future? There must be some people that people argue you've got to have that character in.
Oh yeah, that's a tough one. Unfortunately, I can't really speak for the dev team about that. But the way I see it, like personally, you're right. It's just impossible to get all the characters in because there are so many. I mean,
there are so many.
The Final Fantasy franchise has been going for 30 years.
Yeah.
But what we're showing at the moment is actually the version of the game, the test version we actually have here at EGX. So you guys sure go and play when you got time.
Definitely.
And in that you can see that there's a mainline hero. There's a hero character from 1 to 14. So that's 14 characters already. And in the Japanese arcades, there's villain characters to a lot of those same games.
So there's more stuff coming as
yeah. And like I say, because it's out in Japan in the arcades, which is also being updated with new characters.
Yeah.
There are constantly being new characters being added. In fact, at Tokyo Game Show this week, we just announced that Noctis from Final Fantasy 15 is going to be in Dissidia Final Fantasy NT. So yeah, a lot more characters with obviously very varied play styles. But in terms of like how they choose, how the dev team chooses, I wouldn't.
Difficult question to
answer. That's really tough. Cause like, but the thing is, there's never a right answer, right? Because everyone's going to be my favorite of this character has got to be in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think the team's done a great job in including the characters that, you know, I guess kind of quote unquote have to be in, you know, like your hero characters, because that would be like Street Fighter without Ryu.
The key, the key characters, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it. And we are out of time now, but we'll be back again with another game very, very shortly. But just before we go, when's the game out and where can people play it?
The game is out on January 30th, so end of January next year. Coming out exclusively on PlayStation 4. And yeah, we have the game playable here at EGX, so if people watching on the stream are coming to the show, be sure to come check it out, and you could win potentially a shiny medal.
And people are going to be flocking. Final Fantasy swag. Oh my god.
That's it. Done.
Where's the queue?
Thank you so much, guys. So stick around, guys. We've got some plenty more content coming up very, very shortly. We'll see you in a